The other day, we watched a recording of a talk that Venerable Chodron had had with a monk in Europe who's trying to set up a new Sangha community. And afterwards, we had the community discussion that I found very inspiring. It really reminded me of how dependent I am on a Sangha or a monastic community to support me in my practice at this stage, and how I should be so grateful and so happy to be living in such a supportive environment. People shared many different benefits that come from living in a monastic community, but the one that stood out for me the most was in terms of helping me to keep good ethical conduct and being able to watch my mind over the past 5 years. I see that it's very rebellious, it's very naughty, and it needs to be held accountable. And that's something I really wouldn't get nearly as much if I didn't live with other people who are also trying to keep precepts and practice virtue. So ethics or non-harmfulness is the foundation of the whole Buddhist path. And the point, or the reason that we take precepts, especially monastic precepts, is to perfect this practice. So I've been very amazed at how healthy my mind has felt since I ordained and since I moved to the Abbey and have been living a very ethical lifestyle. There, of course, have been many difficult moments and even extended periods of emotional upheaval. But all along, at a deeper level, I get the sense that my mind is much healthier, much happier, and more balanced. It's quite an interesting experience, something I hadn't had before. And then last night, Venerable Chodron read from Samsara Nirvana Buddha Nature, a section called Transcendental Dependent Origination, where she talked about the different mental states that lead up to liberation. And I wanted to quote a passage that demonstrates very well how practicing ethical conduct leads to enduring mental happiness. So on pages 240 to 241, it says, "Living ethically and purifying our past misdeeds, we experience freedom from guilt and self-recrimination. The low self-esteem that has plagued us due to our mistaken actions evaporates, and our self-confidence increases because we now make wise decisions rooted in compassion and restraint from self-indulgence." And she said that by practicing ethical conduct, we haven't even realized anything, yet we experience great delight in what we're doing. So lessening of self-hatred and guilt and a growth in genuine self-confidence and acceptance have been one of the best outcomes of taking monastic ordination. And we also say that just keeping precepts purifies the mind on their own, of course, if one makes an effort to keep them. And the other day, I was having a conversation with one of our Anagarikas, and I mentioned some interesting experiences that I've had occasionally that I interpret as the result of living a monastic lifestyle and as the result of, or as the ripening of positive karmic seeds, since karma often results in feelings. So these experiences pop up in everyday life while I'm doing mundane things. It's not only when I'm seated in meditation. And there's this feeling or this mood that washes through my mind that's like pure water in a mountain stream or a cool, refreshing breeze. And this mental feeling feels completely clear, sparkling with sunlight, and nourishing whatever it encounters. And in contrast, the Buddha compared the afflicted mind to a blazing inferno, which is especially true for the affliction of desire. In the Fire Sermon Sutra, the Buddha said, "Monastics, all is burning." And what, monastics, is the all that is burning? The I is burning, forms are burning, eye consciousness is burning, eye contact is burning, and whatever feeling arises with eye contact as condition, whether pleasant or painful, or neither pleasant nor painful, that too is burning. And burning with what? Burning with the fire of lust, with the fire of hatred, with the fire of delusion, burning with birth, aging and death, with sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure, and despair, I say. And the Buddha goes on to say that the other sense consciousnesses and the mental consciousness are also on fire. So then, in contrast to the burning associated with afflicted states of mind, nirvana is sometimes referred to as the cool state, resulting from the extinguishing of the fires of greed, hate, and delusion. And the term nirvana literally means the extinguishing of a flame. And though I was unable to come across the source of this analogy, sadly, I remember hearing about how the Buddha had compared the fruits of spiritual practice and approaching liberation as like the cool winds that come at the start of the monsoon season in India after months of searing heat that everyone has to endure. And then I was reflecting in my conversation that Dharma happiness can indeed be experienced in this very life, but it's quite subtle at first, and it's almost like an acquired taste because we're so accustomed to the intense rush of sensual pleasure that spikes us up real high and then crashes us real low. And we're so used to defining happiness as gross stimulation that it's quite easy to overlook the subtle and the gentle contentment that describe the feelings accompanying an ethical lifestyle. So of course, feelings are not the goal of our practice, which Geshe Dado recently reminded us of. But I found them very helpful in inspiring me to keep going and to guide me in the right direction when I'm tempted to act unethically or feeling uninspired. So may we all make an effort to recognize when these probably unfamiliar feelings of spiritual happiness arise within our minds. We may not be too used to knowing what they are, but may we make an effort to really notice them and rejoice in them, which come as a result of our ethical conduct. They may be fleeting, but they can really help deepen our conviction in the path and keep us going so that we do reach the permanent state of happiness that comes with liberation and full awakening.